Hey everyone, ready to use those legs?
Mm.
I mean, really think about running.
Mm.
We are diving deep today
Okay.
into Andrea Marcolongo's The Art of Running, Learning to Run
Mm.
Like a Greek.
Yeah.
And you brought us this book, which I know means you're not just looking to PR,
Right.
you want more. And this book has it.
It does.
We're going all the way back to ancient history.
Really interesting stuff.
Philosophy,
Absolutely.
even some self-reflection,
Yeah.
all about WHY we run.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We usually think marathons, right?
Right.
And we think running,
Yeah.
big endurance.
For sure.
But in ancient Greece, the longest race was the Delikos,
Okay.
which was barely even 3 miles.
Wow.
So a far cry from what most runners are doing these days.
Yeah, that's like a warm-up for a lot of people.
Right?
And I was thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine having to explain an ultramarathon
Oh my God.
to an ancient Greek.
Yeah.
They would think we were crazy.
Yeah.
But then I remembered what you said about their whole view on running.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really about running for them. It was about training to be a warrior.
Exactly. It wasn't just exercise.
Wow.
It was all about preparing for battle.
Prep for the battlefield.
Yeah.
And the book even mentions races that they would run in
Okay.
full armor.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine?
No way.
I get tired just thinking about that.
Seriously.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like for them, every step was preparing them to fight.
Yeah, they had to be ready for anything.
Wow.
Sprinting was like the initial charge into battle.
Right.
And then a long, grueling run, even if it was only a few miles,
Right.
showed that you had the stamina to keep going even when things got tough.
So if they were running from battles,
Yeah.
what does that make our modern runs right?
I like that.
I'm not exactly dodging spears out there on my morning jog,
No, you're not.
but I am facing down that voice in my head.
We all have it.
That's telling me to just stay on the couch.
Yeah.
What are your battles that running helps you win?
That's such a good question.
I mean, it makes you think about your motivation
It really does.
in a whole new way.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about this book.
Yeah.
It makes you re-examine why you run
Yeah.
and how it connects to these ancient practices.
Oh, totally.
And you know that story she tells about seeing the kid running on the beach?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think?
I mean, it really hit me hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
That's the core of it.
It's that urge
Yes.
to just run.
That we all have.
And not just to run, but to run towards something
Exactly.
or away from something.
It's primal, isn't it?
It is.
It's like something deep inside us
Yeah.
that's still there.
And we don't even realize it.
Right.
It's like we're hardwired for it.
I think so.
Think about it.
Yeah.
We can have all this technology,
Of the gear in the world.
fancy shoes,
GPS watches.
but at the end of the day,
It's still just you and the road.
right.
It's still that raw human experience.
So are we hardwired for this?
That's a great question, and I think we might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Because one thing that really stood out to me
Okay.
was how she talked about the cost of running now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've got shoes designed by who? Rocket scientists?
Seriously.
And these GPS watches tracking your every step?
It's
It's a far cry from...
it's a whole different world.
It is.
I mean, think about those ancient Greeks.
Yeah.
Or even the Tarahumara people she talks about.
Right.
Who run incredible distances.
I know.
Like it's just part of their life.
Out of necessity.
Yeah. And with barely any gear.
And we're over here spending hundreds of dollars on shoes.
Right. Has all this technology actually made running better?
That's a good question.
Or has it just made it more complicated?
Right? It's supposed to be so simple.
Yeah. I know. I've definitely gotten caught up in the gear hype.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But some of my best runs
I know.
have been with just me and the open road.
Absolutely.
No fancy gadgets, no nothing.
Exactly. And that's the irony she points out. That even with all this technology,
Right.
we're still drawn to that simple experience
Yeah.
of just putting one foot in front of the other.
And pushing ourselves.
And maybe even more than that.
Okay.
Like she talked about how we're measuring time with this crazy precision now.
Oh, yeah. Milliseconds.
Right. Are we missing the bigger picture?
The joy of running.
Exactly.
I mean, I know I've been there
Me too.
so focused on my pace per mile
Oh, yeah.
that I'm not even enjoying the run.
Totally.
And you know, another thing that really struck me
What's that?
was how she talked about women in the running world.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole other layer, isn't it?
It is.
Like she starts by talking about those ancient Hierarchan games
Mhm.
where the women would run in these short tunics.
Can you imagine?
Talk about a different dress code.
It blows my mind.
Right.
Hmm.
And it just shows you how much things have changed.
Or maybe how much they haven't.
Yeah, true.
when you think about it.
Because it's not just about the clothes, is it?
No, it's not just about that.
It's about all the expectations
The pressure
that women face.
in the running world and beyond.
And she really digs into all of that.
Yeah, she does.
She even ties it back to Simone de Beauvoir's ideas
Which is so interesting.
about women and freedom.
Yeah.
And then she talks about her own struggles with training.
Right. Like when she was training for the marathon.
Yeah.
And how she was also trying to be a mother.
And how those two things felt like they were at odds sometimes.
That's such a real struggle.
It's a lot to process,
It is?
but it's so important that she's bringing it to light.
Yeah,
And it's a good reminder that everyone's journey is different.
absolutely.
And we all have our own battles to fight.
Speaking of battles,
Okay.
she doesn't shy away from the darker side of running either.
Yeah, the whole run till you drop mentality.
Yeah. Where's the line?
It makes you wonder how far is too far,
Right. When does pushing your limits become dangerous?
especially after reading about those ancient races
Oh my God.
where people were literally running themselves to death.
I know, it's intense.
So is there a point where we need to say enough is enough?
That's a tough one.
Like, how do we know when we're crossing that line?
I don't know if there's an easy answer.
It's something I've been thinking about a lot.
Me too.
But even with all that darkness,
Yeah.
there's also this beautiful thread of mindfulness that she weaves throughout the book.
It's true.
Remember when she talks about finding that meditative state while running?
Oh, yeah.
It's like everything else just falls away.
And you're just present
Yeah.
in the moment.
It's just you and your breath and the rhythm of your feet.
It's almost like a moving meditation.
Totally. I've actually been trying out some of those mindful running apps.
Oh, yeah. What do you think?
They're interesting.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for just ditching the distractions and just focusing on the run.
Absolutely.
It's like you're connecting to something bigger than yourself.
I love that.
And it's funny because it connects back to something she talks about earlier,
What's that?
about the ancient Greek concept of kairos.
Oh, yeah. The idea of seizing the opportune moment.
Exactly. It's like running gives us this direct line
Wow.
to that ancient wisdom.
I like that.
And maybe that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Even when it's tough.
Even when our bodies are aching,
Yeah.
it's more than just physical, isn't it?
It's not.
There's something deeper going on,
Absolutely.
something mental.
Even spiritual.
And she really captures that
She does.
in a way that I've never read before.
Yeah, she gets it.
She talks about how before she started running,
Yeah.
she wasn't even really aware of her own body.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of there.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can.
But then she started running.
And everything changed
It was like she woke up
to this amazing machine.
and she never even knew she had.
And all it could do.
Have you ever felt that? It's like running totally changed her view of herself.
Yeah, it's like she went from feeling disconnected
Totally.
to really being in her body.
It's amazing how powerful that can be.
It is.
And you know what else I thought was interesting?
What's that?
How she talked about the sensory experience of running.
Oh, yeah, like how she started noticing things
Yes.
she'd never noticed before.
Like the way the light hits the trees.
The sounds of the city.
All those little details that we
Love it.
usually just tune out.
It's like running heightens everything.
It does. It's like all your senses are alive.
Totally.
I've actually started running without music sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, just to be more present.
Interesting.
It's challenging,
I bet.
but it's also really rewarding
I can imagine.
because it forces you to pay attention
Yeah, to really be there.
to everything.
In that moment.
And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
There's something really grounding about that,
Definitely.
especially in this day and age.
With all the technology and distractions.
Like running is this way to reconnect.
To get back to basics.
Yeah, to ourselves,
To the world around us.
to that primal rhythm.
Just putting one foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
That's like hitting the reset button.
I love that.
And speaking of connecting,
Okay.
she also talks about the community
Oh, yeah.
among runners.
It's a special thing.
That feeling of belonging.
Even with strangers.
Just because you share that passion.
I know what you mean.
I've met some of my closest friends through running.
Me too.
It's amazing how quickly you can connect.
When you have that common ground.
Like you already speak the same language,
Totally.
even if you've never met before.
It's powerful.
It is.
And it speaks to that human need
Yeah.
for connection.
For belonging.
We all want to be part in something bigger than ourselves.
And running can give you that.
It can.
But you know what's funny?
What's that?
She also talks about how,
Yeah.
even with that sense of community,
Right.
running can become isolating.
How so?
if you let it consume you.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like, she talks about the pressure to perform.
The comparison.
Yeah, the constant comparing yourself to other runners.
It's a number.
To social media.
It's easy to get caught up in that.
And then becomes all about that.
Instead of the joy of running.
Oh, exactly.
And then it's not fun anymore.
So it's a balance.
It is.
Like anything else in life.
You have to find that sweet spot.
And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from the book.
What's that?
That it's not just about logging miles.
Or chasing PRs.
It's about finding what running means to you.
On your own terms.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of it.
It's your journey.
Your run.
Your way.
I love that.
And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this deep dive.
I agree.
A huge thank you to you.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all of you out there for joining us.
Keep on running, everyone.
And remember, even if you run to the ends of the earth,
there's always another horizon.
Happy running.